From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. Radio Pilipinas World Service can also be heard on shortwave broadcast through the facilities of the United States Agency for Global Media or Voice of America on the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 MHz. I'm your host, Leo Magpayo, and this is Dateline Malacañang. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. reassured the public that his health is steadily improving. After several days of medical observation, doctors have given him a positive assessment. In a vlog released Sunday, the president said his condition is nothing serious and that he simply needs time to regain his strength following a period on a restricted diet. President Marcos added that he's already on the road to recovery. The chief executive shared that he lost some weight after being placed on a liquid diet for several days, joking that it felt like he had unintentionally gone on a diet. Earlier, Malacañang confirmed that the president had been diagnosed with diverticulitis, a non-life-threatening inflammation of pouches in the colon. President Marcos Jr. was brought to the hospital on January 21st and stayed overnight for observation. Following his doctor's advice, President Marcos temporarily skipped several public engagements outside the palace. Despite this, he continued working, reviewing documents, and attending meetings from within Malacañang. Palace officials continue to emphasize that the president remains fully capable of performing his duties, dismissing rumors suggesting his condition has worsened.
Nagre-recover na rin, pero maganda ang assessment ng mga doktor, nothing serious, kailangan lang magpalakas ulit. Namayat na nga ako at sabaw lang ang binibigay sa akin ng ilang araw. Mabuti na yan at para akong nag-dieta.
Was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. called for a major overhaul of outdated government policies, saying these long-standing rules slow down transactions and place unnecessary burdens on ordinary Filipinos. The president renewed his push for digitalization and easier business processes in a vlog released Sunday titled Policia. President Marcos stressed that public policy should make life simpler, not more difficult for citizens. He emphasized that systems must bring comfort, not frustration, to the Filipino people. The chief executive outlined what he considers the key elements of effective policy: clear goals, ease of implementation, enforceability, and direct benefits to the public. He added that good policies guide behavior and lead to better governance outcomes. President Marcos Jr. also pointed to examples from other countries, ranging from discipline measures to health regulations and work-life balance initiatives, saying these have boosted productivity and improved public welfare abroad. But the president noted that the Philippines must urgently address outdated rules that hinder government services. He cited long queues, repetitive paperwork, and requirements that force people to appear in person for transactions that could already be done digitally. As part of ongoing reforms, the President highlighted the rollout of the eGov app and digital licenses at the Land Transportation Office or LTO, aimed at cutting red tape and reducing corruption. President Marcos also mentioned commuter-friendly initiatives such as free high-speed Wi-Fi in public transport, discounted fares for students and persons with disabilities, and the zero-balance billing policy designed to expand healthcare access for middle-income families.
Paano natin malalaman na ang isang pulisiya ay maganda? Ang isang pulisiya na maganda ay matutupad kung anuman ang inyong ninanais. Halimbawa, para sa pamahalaan, para pagandahin ang buhay ng tao, para magbigay tayo ng magandang healthcare, para matulungan natin ang mga mahirap, para pababain ang presyo ng mga produkto, paano natin pagandahin ang ekonomiya. At kasama dyan sa pulisiyang yan, ang ibig sabihin ay ginagbibigay ng gabay kung paano natin aabutin ang ating mga pinapangarap. Pangalawa, nakakatulong sa pagpapabuti ng pag-uugali, behavior at pag-iisip ng mamamayan. Pangatlo, madaling maintindihan ng kung sino man ang kailangan magpatupad ng pulisiya na yon. Pang-apat, kayang ma-enforce at mag-implementa. Panglima, nakakatulong sa mamamayan, hindi pampabigat, hindi perwisyo. Pero ang tingin ko, kailangan natin tutukan ang mga lumang pulisiya na nagpapabagal at nagpapahirap sa mga government transaction, sa ease of doing business. Ika nga, tanyag tayo sa pulisiyang kailangan ng ID para mag-apply kumuha ng ID. Isang refleksyon ng manapakalumang sistema. Mahilig din tayo sa mga pag-fill out ng duplicate o triplicate. Yung mga abogado, kung yung kopya na hinihingi nila, duse-dusena. Sangkatutak ng mga form na pare-pareho naman ang hinihiling na impormasyon. Physical appearance sa mga transaksyon na pwedeng digital na. At marami pang iba na pampagulo lamang. Hindi tayo dapat pumipila ng madaling araw sa opisina ng gobyerno para lang kumuha ng isang dokumento. Kaya isa sa pinagtutuunan natin ay ang eGov app at digitalization ng government system. Maraming masosolusyonan na problema ito. Halimbawa, sa LTO, wala nang confiscation ng physical ID. Recognized na digital license. Meron na tayong beep card sa MRT. 50% off for students at saka PWD. Kasi sila ang mas may kailangan ng suporta. Tapos libre pa buong pamilya pag linggo. Zero billing policy para maisama natin yung itinatawag na middle class. Free fast Wi-Fi sa lahat ng bus at saka tren. Habang naghihintay kayo, makasakay at least makapag-internet na mabilis. Makikita mo sa mga pulisiya ang mga pinapahalagahan natin na ating bansa, ang disiplina, ang seguridad, kalusugan at iba pa.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang fired back at critics calling for the ouster of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., branding them as hypocrites who ignored alleged wrongdoing in the previous administration but are now demanding the president's resignation. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro criticized opposition figures for urging the president to step down, saying the chief executive has been working to address national issues including corruption in government. Castro's remarks came after former Anak Kalusugan party list representative Mike Defensor accused President Marcos of being the mastermind behind corruption, pointing to alleged irregularities in flood control projects. Defensor led a motorcade along Epifanio de los Santos Avenue or EDSA, calling for the president's resignation, and announced plans for more anti-corruption caravans nationwide. He also urged the president to be transparent about his health. Castro countered by saying the opposition remained silent during controversies under the previous administration. She insisted that the palace has been transparent about the president's condition and warned critics against spreading misinformation. She challenged opposition groups to present evidence if they intend to make accusations, saying claims without proof amount to mere drama and insinuation. The exchange follows allegations from Batangas 1st District Representative Leandro Leviste, who said individuals linked to the administration asked him to leave the country and stop releasing documents related to supposed flood control anomalies.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, Malacañang downplayed what it calls a senseless accusation from Batangas 1st District Representative Leandro Leviste, who claimed the Marcos administration urged him to leave the country and stop releasing documents on alleged irregularities in flood control projects. In a message to reporters, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is fully focused on addressing the nation's most urgent concerns. She emphasized that the administration is working to strengthen the economy and will not be distracted by what she described as baseless allegations. Castro added that the government sees no reason to respond to statements she considers meaningless, saying such claims are simply a waste of time. Leviste earlier asserted that he had obtained documents supposedly linking cabinet members and other officials to questionable Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH projects. On Friday, he said he sought travel authority after what he described as a request from individuals tied to the administration, allegedly asking him to go abroad and halt the release of evidence. He maintained that he is willing to speak on the issue whenever he is asked or permitted to do so. Leviste previously said the documents came from former DPWH Undersecretary Maria Catalina Cabral, who died in December last year after falling into a ravine in Tuba, Benguet.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang over the weekend said there have been no discussions so far on proposals to amend the Constitution, but the idea may be considered if formally brought to President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro told reporters that the matter has not been taken up, responding to Senate President Vicente Soto III's suggestion to revise the 1987 Constitution to address issues surrounding impeachment rules. Castro emphasized that the president and his economic team remain focused on measures to boost the country's economic performance. She noted that constitutional amendments were not part of the agenda during President Marcos's meeting with his economic advisors last Friday. However, she added that if lawmakers begin taking steps toward charter change, the president will study the proposals. Soto raised the idea after the Supreme Court upheld its ruling declaring the impeachment proceedings against Vice President Sara Duterte unconstitutional. He urged that the decision encroaches on Congress's exclusive authority under Article 11 of the Constitution, particularly the House of Representatives' power to initiate impeachment cases.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, the Marcos administration marked a new milestone in its national housing program as the first ever horizontal housing units under the expanded Pambansang Pabahay para sa Pilipino or 4PH program were officially turned over to beneficiaries in Occidental Mindoro Province on Sunday. In a simple ceremony attended by officials from the Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development, or DSUD, and the local government, families received their new homes at the Mamburao-ville Socialized Housing Project in Payompon Town, Mamburao. DSUD Secretary Jose Ramon Aliling described the turnover as a significant achievement, coming just 7 months after the administration expanded the 4PH to include horizontal or subdivision type developments. The program previously focused solely on vertical condominium-style housing. Aliling said the shifts aligns with President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s directive to speed up the delivery of decent, affordable, and safe housing across the country. He emphasized that the administration aims to widen the program's reach and benefit more Filipino families. The Mamburawville project covers more than 41,000 square meters and features 415 house and lot units classified as socialized housing. The community includes open spaces, parks, playgrounds, and an elevated water tank to support a sustainable living environment. Aliling also highlighted the importance of strong partnerships between government and the private sector in addressing the nation's housing backlog. He said such collaboration brings Filipino families closer to their dream of owning a home and living a dignified life. The DSUD reaffirmed its commitment to push forward inclusive and sustainable housing initiatives nationwide in line with the President's vision of a new Philippines where every Filipino family has access to dignified shelter.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippine Coast Guard, or PCG, on Sunday updated the official casualty count from the sinking of MV Tricia Kirsten III. Authorities now confirm 40 fatalities, one more than earlier reported, while the number of survivors remain at 316. Coast Guard District Southwestern Mindanao Commander Commodore Rejard Marfe said the revised figures includes the body of a 6-month-old girl turned over to the Basilan Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office on January 26 before being brought to Zamboanga City. The updated tally follows a joint validation meeting between the Coast Guard, the Provincial Disaster Office, and the Zamboanga City Disaster Office to reconcile all recovered victims from the incident. The Coast Guard is extending its condolences to the families of those who perished and says coordination with government agencies and local authorities continues to ensure accurate reporting and proper handling of all recovered victims. Earlier, the PCG confirmed the recovery of the body of one of its personnel following the sinking of MV Tricia Kirsten III off Balok-Balok Island in Basilan. The remains were retrieved Sunday morning during ongoing search and rescue operations involving government agencies, local authorities, and volunteer fisherfolk. The Coast Guard identified the fallen responder as Seaman First Class Alcazar Hadjail after verification procedures and coordination with his family. The PCG extended its deepest sympathies to his loved ones and pledged full support as they navigate this difficult time. PCG spokesperson Captain Kayabyab said, "The service mourns the loss of a dedicated public servant," adding that Hadjail will be remembered for his courage, professionalism, and unwavering commitment to duty.
Dateline Malacañang.
Immigration authorities have intercepted and rescued a 17-year-old girl at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport, or NAIA Terminal 1, preventing what officials say was an attempted case of illegal recruitment. The Bureau of Immigration, or BI, reported that the minor, identified only as Zia from Maguindanao del Sur, was set to fly to Saudi Arabia on January 24th when officers discovered that her passport and other travel documents falsely listed her age as 25. She had been recruited by a Pasay-based agency to work as a household service worker abroad. During secondary inspection, Zia presented her birth certificate, confirming she was only 17 and therefore not eligible for overseas employment. Authorities immediately coordinated with the Interagency Council Against Trafficking, which has taken custody of the minor, to ensure her safety and to pursue cases against those responsible for the recruitment attempt. Immigration Commissioner Joel Anthony Viado said, "The incident underscores the government's strong commitment to protecting vulnerable Filipinos from exploitation."
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the Philippines is setting the tone for its 2026 Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN chairship, with three core priorities: peace and security, prosperity corridors, and people empowerment. The framework underscores the country's push for stability, economic growth, and human security as the region navigates fast-changing global and regional dynamics. Foreign Affairs Secretary Maria Teresa Lazaro detailed the chairship agenda during the ASEAN Foreign Ministers Meeting retreat in Cebu City, held alongside the ASEAN Tourism Conference. She described the three Ps as the guiding pillars that will shape ASEAN cooperation throughout the Philippines' leadership. Lazaro highlighted that the chairship coincides with the 50th anniversary of the ASEAN Treaty of Amity and Cooperation, or TAC, an agreement the Philippines considers central to the region's political and security architecture. She noted that the TAC's principles, including respect for sovereignty, non-interference, peaceful dispute resolution, and the renunciation of force, have long supported regional stability. With 58 high contracting parties, the treaty remains relevant well beyond Southeast Asia. Under President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., Lazaro said, the Philippines remains committed to international law, ASEAN centrality, and the principles of the TAC under the United Nations Charter. These commitments, she added, guide the country's pursuit of peace, economic resilience, and people-centered development across ASEAN's community pillars. She acknowledged that ASEAN faces increasingly complex security challenges, from maritime tensions to internal conflicts and humanitarian issues, compounded by global developments that strain multilateral institutions. The retreat provided a venue for foreign ministers to review priorities and exchange views on pressing issues. Lazaro affirmed that the Philippines is ready to work closely with ASEAN members and partners to ensure a meaningful and impactful chairship.
Under the leadership of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., the Philippines remains firmly committed to these same principles. We continue to uphold international law, principles enshrined in the TAC and the UN Charter, and respect for ASEAN centrality as the foundations of our foreign policy. These principles guide how we pursue peace and stability, economic resilience, and people-centered development across all our three community pillars. Security challenges facing ASEAN have not only grown, but have also evolved and diversified. Across our region, we continue to see tensions at sea, protracted internal conflicts, and unresolved border and humanitarian concerns. These realities underscore the enduring importance of ASEAN's time-honored principles of restraint, dialogue, and adherence to international law in seeking to preserve peace and stability to our peoples.
Was Foreign Affairs Secretary Maria Teresa Lazaro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service can be heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 MHz. Radyo Pilipinas World Service is also live on audio streaming. Just download Evox PBS Receiver on your Google Play Store or the App Store from your Apple phone. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Just type in and search for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our post as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.